Hello everyone, welcome back to Species Spotlights with Mr. Chris and Miss Bethany. This week we'll be starting our next theme. This theme was chosen by your votes on our poll from the MSOL Facebook page. Thank you to everyone who participated in our poll. The winner of our poll was backyard birds. The first bird we'll be covering in this theme is one of our favorite common birds, the eastern bluebird. The call you heard at the beginning of the video was the call of the eastern bluebird. The eastern bluebird always catches the eye of the viewer with its beautiful bright blue feathers. The blue feathers are restricted to the head and back of the bird. Their throat and chests have rust-colored feathers and their abdomen is white. The eastern bluebird is native and common in eastern North America and can be found along the Atlantic coast west to the Great Plains. A lot of bird species migrate during the fall and winter, and the eastern bluebird is considered a resident to medium-distance migrant. Whether or not an individual moves is based on where it lives. Northern populations migrate in the fall and spend most of their winters in the southeast United States or Mexico. Some populations may fly as far as 2,000 miles between Manitoba, Canada, and Texas. Southern populations, which live where it's already warm, will generally remain in their breeding grounds year-round. They feed mostly on ground-dwelling insects such as caterpillars, beetles, crickets, grasshoppers, and spiders. They have short, thin, straight beaks like many other insect-feeding birds. You can tell a lot about what an animal eats by looking at their mouth. In the fall, when insects are sparse, their diet shifts to fruits. When not scanning their area for prey from a wire, fence post, or branch, eastern bluebirds are busy tending to their nests. They prefer to build their nests in natural cavities created by woodpeckers or will make a home in a nest box that has been specifically built for bluebirds. It has been observed that older bluebirds are more likely to use a nest box than younger birds. It is quite the process to choose and tend to a nest site. Typically, the male finds a site and attracts a female by carefully carrying materials into and out of the nest and perching and fluttering his wings to advertise his efforts and abilities. Once a female chooses a nesting site, she will build the nest by loosely weaving together grasses and pine needles to create the nest structure. She then lines the nest with finer, softer grasses, animal hair, and even feathers to make a soft, comfy, warm place to lay her eggs. She will build more than one nest, however, only one will be used to rear eggs. If you find an eastern bluebird nest, you may observe 2 to 7 small pale blue eggs that will make up that clutch. As with any bird nest, if you find it, you should leave it alone. Even if it seems to be abandoned, Mama is probably just out getting food and will be back soon. Mama birds can have up to 3 broods per year. Each clutch of eggs would have incubated for 11 to 19 days before hatching. Baby birds do not hatch ready to take care of themselves. They are born altricial, meaning they are underdeveloped. They have no feathers except for a few sparse tufts. Their eyes are closed and they move around clumsily. Overall, they are not ready to leave the nest. They develop quickly though, and babies are ready to fledge, another word for leaving the nest, after 17 to 21 days. How long do humans usually take before they are ready to leave the nest? Much longer than 17 to 21 days, that's for sure. Bluebirds will come to a location if the habitat supports their life cycle. You may be able to encourage and attract bluebirds to your property by offering food such as mealworms. Kindergarten and first grade, do you remember making mealworm popsicles with Mr. Chris and Miss Bethany? I'm sure our bluebirds loved that treat. Bluebirds are not typically bird feeder birds, but they can come to your feeder if it contains their favorite treats, such as those mealworms. The best way to attract bluebirds is to offer them nesting habitat in the form of specially designed nest boxes. Install your nest boxes before the breeding season, which is in late winter and spring. Look for the link to a website about how to build and install nest boxes in the description below. Bluebird populations declined in the early 20th century due to the introduction of non-native species such as European starling and house sparrow, which utilize the same nesting habitats as bluebirds. The populations have recovered, though, as the ecosystem adapted to these non-native invaders. Bluebird populations increased between 1966 and 2015. In the 1960s and 70s, environmental groups spearheaded campaigns aimed at bluebird conservation. They constructed many bluebird boxes which had holes too small for starlings to use and made bluebird trails with many bluebird boxes placed along them. These actions have been greatly beneficial to their populations, and as a result, bluebirds are now listed as least concern by the IUCN Red List, a comprehensive list of global species conservation status. That was this week's Species Spotlight of the eastern bluebird. Bluebirds are a common sight at the MLA and MSOL campus, as well as many nature trails. Make sure to keep an eye or ear out for them when you're out on a hike. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today. We'll be back next week with another Species Spotlight video. Everyone stay safe and healthy. In the meantime, don't be afraid to get off the web and explore the outdoors, while keeping social distancing, of course.